This is Luton, and today we're going to be looking at the scrap metal map. Now, I've said before that this map is quite complicated and quite large when it comes to the close quarters maps, so I thought I'd have a look through, give you a review, give you some routes and break down the map for you. Now, we're starting off here in what I would call the old factory, okay, and you can call it old for short. You can see why, because it's very derelict, rusting and all broken down, okay. Now, this is the basement level. This is the lowest level in the old building, and basically what we've got in here is a corridor that leads down to the new work factory, or I call the workshop, and we have another pathway which leads to the C flag, and it also leads to the workshop. We also have this stairwell which has 2 points up, and that moves up to your first floor. And there's a whole area down here, small little rooms and so on. And we also have another stairwell which also leads up to the first floor. So let's just take a look at C. And basically you come down here, you can see, I don't want to go through there yet, but that's a pathway that just leads across. We also have over here, this leads to a balcony which has multiple crossways across, and another one which leads down also across to the workshop area. So let's head up to the first floor. Okay, now on the first floor we've got the B flag if you're playing Conquest Domination, and you can get through here. There's some nice concrete blocks which are really good for hiding and aiming, and again I don't want to move in there to cap it just yet, but you can see that by moving towards the B flag area. Okay. And a nice little tip for this one is if you actually come and stand by this wall, you see, whoa, whoa, whoa. You don't actually need to go in there, you see. You can just go to about here and it will start to cap. And that's very useful because often a lot of people will play C4 claymores, and if I come this way you can see it's quite a little maze in here. There's a lot of blocks, concrete blocks and so on. And strange that by coming to here it doesn't cap, but if you go the other side it does. But you can see in this area, look, there's a lot of these concrete blocks and stuff, and people will place, as I say, C4 claymores all over the place. Now on this first floor level you've got a stairway, and that leads up to the balcony overwatch, and we've also got this, which again, we have another balcony here which leads across, and we have this walkway, on top of the walkway, the pipes which leads across to the rooftop. Let's just go through here. This is our stairway coming up from the ground floor. And we have another stairway here which leads up to the overwatch again. And then as with the floor below, we have this balcony exit here. And that links back across to the one on the other side. But we also have this pipework here, and that will also lead across over here. And you can also jump down onto the exit point from the ground floor, which leads to these steps. So let's just go up onto the balcony now. You can call it balcony, overwatch, either, whatever. Now, this whole section up here, you'll find often a lot of people sort of camping up here, and it's obviously very good. A lot of combat on scrap metal tends to take place from, you know, the distance between here and the rooftop. You'll often get at least 3 or 4 people on each of these positions, you know, shooting it out across the map. And a couple of ones to watch out for. Okay, people often get in here because it's a very tricky, nice little spot, and people like to get in here, and they can just hide, snipe, RPG. You'll see me doing that on some of my videos as well, because it is a really good spot. And something that I've found as well is with scrap metal, because it's quite a large map, you do find that people tend to congregate in specific areas and then fight it out. They're not really camping, it's just the fact that they don't want to spend the whole time running around the map, so, you know, they're just trying to, you know, make sure that they can actually get some combat. So this section as well up here, this is another place people like to camp, and the reason for that is that basically, you know, you can shoot across the whole roof here. You can also then move back in, cover the stairway, and you've also got access covering this other stairway here as well. So you've basically got 3 points which you can cover all in one spot. So this little spot here tends to be one which is often occupied by multiple people. Something to be careful of when you're coming up these stairs is that, as you see, coming out of the dark, it can be a little bit blinding sometimes. So as you come up, and it can also be tricky to try and watch multiple areas, and I often have found, I was in a game the other day, and you know, you'll get people doing this sort of thing, where they just sit here, and then as you come up the stairs, they just stand up and take you out. Also, if you're attacking B, you need to be careful that, again, people will pour down from here. If they see B being capped, they'll often come in here, get to here, and they can take you out there, or, you know, put a grenade in or an RPG or whatever. As well, often you can stand here and put an RPG onto this corner, so it can be quite dangerous, so be careful of that. Okay, so this is all of the old side. Let's move across now to the new side. I'm going to start at the bottom floor again and work up. So this is basically the new workshop, so I would just call this the workshop area, and you can see we've got various machinery, tools and so on. And again, you've got the same small rooms around the back as you had on the other side. So again, people can be hiding in here, camping out in here. No real reason for them to, but you know, people often will be in this area, and it's a spawn as well, so you'll get people coming from this area. So from the new workshop area, as with the basement floor, we've got from the old building, we can move up through here, and that will lead us across to the old side. And then we have the route into the C flag here. And then we have a stairwell over there which leads up to the rooftop. That just goes straight to the roof. And this brings us out on the top. Again, you know, a game people often like to play is sort of staying here and then shooting across at that balcony over there. RPGing, whatever, you know. Okay, just before we get up there, let's go across the other side again. And we'll look at the stairway here. So you have this stair route which leads up. Also, over here on the right, we've got the ground floor walkway balcony which leads across over here. So when we get up to this level, we've got one floor up, and that leads to the balcony overwatch area. So that's what, as I was saying, you've got to be really careful, but you can obviously snipe. If you're careful here, you see, you can just pop up and down, and that can often help you take out those guys camping up on that corner. Again, fire an RPG, AT, whatever. And you can see again that this is our walkway which leads across back over there. So it all interlinks very well, and you have multiple ways of getting around the map. Now, coming up to A, if you're attacking A, or just want to get to the rooftop and you're coming from either of these two positions, you have to be a little bit careful for several reasons. Okay, for one thing, they can put claymores and things anywhere here, but you could do that anywhere on the map. But I've found in games often people do this. They'll lie prone here, and it's a bit difficult for me to show, but it can be very, very difficult to come through here. You often won't see these people until the last minute, and they've got a very easy line of sight on you there. They can just take you out, no problem at all. So watch out for that, because I've found that in multiple games. Also, you'll just have often people doing this, just lying prone right here, and again, they've got a nice line of sight on you. And again, just coming into here now, this is a favourite little spot for C4 campers. It's very dark, and you don't often look in here, because as you come through, it's not something that's immediately noticeable as a small room, but it's very, very dark, and they can hide very well in here. And you see, you can go right into the corners here, and what they will do is just sit here with their C4 and their ammo box. They'll wait until they see the flag capping, they'll blow all their C4, they've obviously reloaded their C4, they will come out, they'll throw a load more down, and then they'll go back into their little hole. So always check this, and you know, if there is C4 and people have been using it, it's worth just checking that route first. Just put a couple of rounds in there, you'll soon know if you get a hit marker or not. And then obviously, something you always want to be doing, you just put a grenade out towards the area there and just blow any C4 that would be on it. Okay, so now we're on the rooftop here, and this is where A is, so let's just cap this. Again, these cap very, very quickly in Conquest Domination. The rooftop is very open, there isn't a huge amount of cover, but there are these little buildings which you can sort of move between and make your progression forward. Another thing that people do, you can often put a recon spawn point down here. It's quite good because it's kind of out of the line of sight, and when people come up the steps and so on, they don't always notice that. And yeah, basically that's all there is to it. It's quite a simple area. There's nothing too much to it really. Just got to be very careful you don't get sniped or picked off from that overwatch. And this is our stairway walking down. Something about this stairway, you can obviously see the light change. So as you come down the stairs, again, something that can often be worth doing just to make sure you don't get caught out. Just put a round or two, just sort of down the stairs, just 2 or 3, and just make sure there's no one, because often you get people sitting there or even here and they're covering the stairway. If they're here, you might not pick them off, but you've just got to take that risk really. Okay, so let's look at the crossing points. Now here, you can either jump down, but a lot of people will just go onto this pipe and run across, and then you can just get straight into B, so that's a very fast route. Something to be careful of again, these holes are very useful because it allows you to kind of drop down through the map very quickly, but what you'll often see people doing, it's not that great of an idea because it leaves you very exposed, but people will often do this. They will sit and cover this walkway here, and they can also cover this one here. But I don't really like that because you're just sitting out in the open, but I've seen people doing it often, and they will often catch people out, catch a few kills, but they don't last very long. Okay, so from there we've got this walkway across. You see this leads us to C, so it's all very interlinking. We'll just go up 1 floor. Okay, now that pipework, as I say, you can run across that pipework right there, and remembering that you get to that from the floor below us. And you can just run straight across and hop up onto here, hop up over the pipes, and you're in. So yeah, nothing too complicated, very, very easy. So now that we've looked at that, let's just take a little look at some other positions and the routes that are quickest across. Now, when you're moving between the bases, there's obviously going to be priority routes that you always want to take, places that are a little bit safer, and so on and so on. So when I'm moving from A to B, depending on how direct you want to get there, obviously the most direct route from A to B is straight across here, okay? And depending on how hard they're defending or not, you can just run straight across, and you'll often just literally want to jump and just run straight in the door, okay? Another way to go though is obviously the pipes. And once you've got the pipes, you can just run straight around the back, and then just keep going. Oops, not like that. Just keep going straight around the back here, in, and then obviously, as I say, you can cap from outside the wall, so you just come and sit here, cap the base, and then move on to C, and you want to just jump straight over and get straight down to C. You can cap both bases in about, I don't know, 10-15 seconds, and then move on, and then you'd probably want to do another clean sweep. You'd make your way back up to A. So it's all about circuits and just picking up the things, clearing it out as you come. Cap A, and you probably want to go for a clear, make sure you've got no campers here, clear them out. Keep moving, then you've either got B or C, so you can choose which one you want to go for. And you just keep moving around the map, going very fast. It's often worth taking different routes as well, just to sort of mix it up a little bit. And that's all there is to it really. So this has been my little overview of scrap metal. I hope that's been useful for people who maybe haven't played these maps yet, or haven't got the feel of them or had the time to look around them. Thanks for watching, guys.